Hello, everyone. Welcome to our automation community's fireside chats today. And today it's my pleasure to welcome a distinguished guest, Dr. Marcell Vollmer. Marcell, guten Tag. How are you?
Pascal, many thanks for having me. Einen wunderschönen guten Tag. Thanks, I'm very, very well. And as you can hear from my strong accent, I'm a German. Great pleasure being here with you today.
Yes, no worries. We'll continue in English. That's the only word I can say in German. Super happy and really honored to have you with us today.
Likewise.
And to start with, Marcell, quick intro about yourself. Of course, we won't be able to cover everything in a few seconds, but key points about your background and where you are at today. I consider you as one of the global gurus of supply chain, procurement, and operations in general, with a specific focus on digital and tech. In general, that's how I see you, and I've been following you on the different social media over the last years. But back to what you do now. You're a partner and director at BCG. You're bringing over 20 years of experience developing and implementing strategies in the fields of procurement, supply chain, but also finance, shared service center, and digital in general. Prior to joining BCG, you were the Chief Innovation Officer for Celonis. Celonis is one of the world's leading process mining software company. I think they've created this field a few years ago. And before that, you used to work for a long time at SAP. Different roles like Chief Digital Officer, Chief Operating Officer, Procurement Officer as well. I mean, you've really done a lot at SAP in terms of managing the teams there. Marcell, very happy to have you with us today. I hope you're fine. All fine with you? We've been talking a lot about technology as a key driver for the supply chain of the future, and this over the last decade. But is it really happening? And what are the concrete steps that companies should take today to move to the next level? That's what really I want to get from this discussion with you, Marcell, over the coming minutes. And to start with, my first question. In your role at BCG, every day you might be meeting companies that are looking to improve their supply chain and procurement functions. What do you think what do you see as the current landscape of supply chain and procurement functions?
Thanks, Pascal. That's a great question. And I think we all have seen how important supply chains are, as well as procurement as a function in times of a pandemic. I really wish I could say, hey, the pandemic, COVID-19, it was very bad and it's over now. Unfortunately, it is not. And we still don't have a date when it will be over. Hopefully soon. And I'm very happy seeing that vaccination is really going up, and countries are getting more vaccinated people, which will be our path back to normality. What we see in supply chain is basically everyone is currently looking into making supply chains more resilient. The reason for that is impact on a supply chain basically means that we are no longer getting our goods in time, or that companies can't produce whatever they manufacture. We have seen this not only now in the pandemic. There was a recent event at the Suez Canal. One ship basically blocked the entire canal with huge impact on hundreds of ships impacted by that, and with that, millions of containers getting delayed. So therefore, and this is basically just one incident, what we have seen. the pandemic definitely has a much larger magnitude on impact what it has in all the countries globally, and therefore number one priority what I can see is definitely resilience of supply chain, focusing on risk management, and also looking into that, how to work in a better way with data, how to really get the arms around in a case something is happening. Which containers do I have in one of the ships at the Suez Canal, as one example? It's a pandemic when in the Hubei area in China, at the Wuhan city, the COVID-19 virus breakout started. Who are my suppliers? Probably I know the tier one suppliers, but am I impacted because some of my tier two or tier three suppliers might be in that region or might be impacted by the close down of an entire area? And this is basically, I think, definitely number one priority. Number two priority, I see definitely digital transformation is still going on. We are not done. There are lots of investments, and you can call it Industry 4.0 or Industrial Revolution 4. I think we are now really becoming more bionic, and this means combining machines with humans. You know this very well. I see the book, your book in the background, Intelligent Automation. I couldn't agree more on what you have done in that book, and this is basically also currently indicating what companies are looking into that. Not only to automate, but also really to think about what will be next by getting access to much more analytical capabilities, by getting really insights, machine learning, artificial intelligence in the future, by working in a different way with the data. And I think these are the top two priorities, what I see on top of the agenda. When I talk to CPOs, chief procurement officers, I was one at SAP, as you nicely introduced myself. Basically, procurement is exactly at a critical point and integrated part of any supply chain. When I define supply chain, I always make it very simple. It is plan, it is source, it is make and deliver. So simple it is. I know it is much more complex, but I like it sometimes really having it explained in simple words. And the source part is basically procurement. So you see, procurement is in the middle of every supply chain and plays a critical role to ensure that the resilience works, that you contract the right suppliers. Also, when you look at priorities right now, sustainability, driving supplier innovations are key elements right now, as well as also focusing on costs, bringing down the cost. So that's basically what I listen to, and you're perfectly right. I do this on a daily basis, talking to C-level executives, discussing on what are the right priorities, what to do now, and how to learn also from others. And basically, that's my role now as a partner at BCG.
Thank you. Thanks for this great landscape of where we are today and the key levers that you see as critical for the future, and namely, so as you mentioned, data, combining technologies to create synergies, basically, but also making sure of greater connection between the technology and the people. And I think this is for a greater adoption of those technologies and a greater impact, finally, of those. Can you tell us a bit more on that topic of getting people closer to technology and how does it impact the adoption? If you have any examples or war stories to tell us about the topic.
Absolutely, Pascal. That's a great question. And I briefly mentioned bionic, and that machines and humans are getting closer together. And we see this on a daily basis. Look at the robots right now. As we are following each other on Twitter, you see I post a lot about electrical vehicles, self-driving cars, what is currently happening, because I'm very impressed about that. And it is not only the capabilities, what we see on the cars itself, the autonomous driving capabilities are basically an amazing example. And it is not only just looking into the future. By having the level 5 fully autonomous driving cars, it is right away the cars we can rent, for example, where you have a lane assistance, that you keep in the lane on the road, that you have a speed or distance assistance. So these are great examples also where we work on a daily basis together with technology. And it moves on, thinking about the next level. Now 5G is a very hot topic right now. Why? Because this technology gives us access to real-time data, connecting cars and also building local networks. And the local network can be also a moving network on a highway connecting the cars and also alerting in the case of an emergency brake, for example. And this is where we see technology is really becoming more and more an integrated part of our life and how we also work together with machines. I think we see multiple examples already before. And my favorite one is definitely this one, the smartphone, what we are all using. Look how this has changed our life. If I would tell someone, hey, you will have a tiny device in the future, and basically this is managing you. It is giving you access to your calendar. It is providing you with guidance if you need to leave in time for a meeting because the traffic might has heated up. It might also be your mobile, your internet browser. You might watch movies on that. Basically, most parts you take pictures, most parts what you do will be done with this device. When I was grown up, basically a phone looked like a box with something you could do this one. So I know that now I'm losing millennials and Generation Z entirely because they are thinking, oh wow, this old man, what is he talking about? And this was the technology basically I had access with when I grew up. And this is now showing, these are the examples also, and I like them because they are perfectly explaining also on the private side as well as on the business side how this is more merging and getting integrated. On the pure business side, when we talk about that, and let's continue with automotive as an example. If you ever have seen a Tesla factory, there's currently one very big project, the Gigafactory, which Elon Musk is building up in the area close to Berlin here in Germany. It is amazing seeing the investment in robots, what you can do and automate with that. So basically, the machines are really getting part in every process what we are doing. It is the robots for manufacturing. It is the machine learning, what we are using. If we are sitting in a shared service center, if we are using a chatbot by calling a hotline as an example, by looking into data when you are a chief procurement officer, analyzing where's my spend, where are my key suppliers, the category managers, working with the data to identify new suppliers, probably also driving supplier out innovations, what they are doing. Supply chain needs IoT to see, hey, what's all connected to my supply chain, the manufacturing process, but also the logistics. How do I know that my truck, the urgently needed supplies are in time for my production? Basically, now you get it in real time. And this is where you really see, wow, the technology is becoming really an integrated part of everything what we do. And we are at the beginning. I think the next level might be then looking to artificial intelligence, where we will see much different capabilities. And with that, the future of work will look much different. We will see people need to have analytical skills and capabilities. And that's exactly also what's currently happening with the workforce. People are more focusing also, how can I make the technology working for me? How can technology help me to do things faster, in a better way, more precise, higher quality? And this is exactly where we see on a daily basis that technology and humans, machines and humans are coming together. And this is what we call a bionic company in the future, what we will see, and the bionic supply chain, of course, which is one part of our future.
Amazing insights. Thanks for sharing, Marcel. So it's really about technology helping us to be better, to improve our efficiency, and on the other side is also the technology understanding it better, collecting information about how we work, how we behave, and being able to provide us with those services. Correct. And on the second point, I would love to get a few insights from you, as you used to work for Celonis. Celonis, a process mining company that is basically understanding processes by leveraging the logs that are created by systems based on the activity of the users. Okay, so you can with this technology understand a lot of the user's behavior, and from this insight you can there are thousands of things we can do to improve the user's experience and to improve the risk management as well. And I would love to get your views on that.
Pascal, and process mining is an amazing technology by providing also visibility in something which at least even tech guys like me have not seen so clearly in the past. What does it mean? I'm used, as I worked more than 14 years at SAP, I was totally used to talk about ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. It doesn't matter if you now go more specific, R3 or now S4HANA, the latest version, but you can also extend that to Oracle, whatever system you have in place, doesn't matter. What process mining does, and this is really the innovation I have a lot of respect for. In 2019, Celonis won the prize about future innovations from the federal president in Germany, to give an award about something which was basically not done in the past. Looking into these systems, ERP and non-ERP systems, to provide end-to-end transparency about how do the data flow through the systems. It might be one system, not very often the case, I can tell you from my experience, it is multiple systems connected. And with that, you see the complexity of what's happening. And this is exactly where process mining is the right technology, helping getting the full visualization about when your process starts, what are the steps, how long does it take from the beginning to an end, and all this gets measured. And by measuring it, it is a starting point also to do what? To improve. And improving means in a process that you have certain frictions. There might be price changes in a catalog, or it might be a delay in a workflow approval, what you have for a purchase order or for an invoice, as an example. It might be also a sales order. What you have, because it is not limited to finance or to a procurement process. It also works for everything what goes through the system. On the sales side, HR, IT, it is everything related also to call center, customer service activities, what you have, and of course, finance, procurement are part of the processes. So front office and back office processes. When you have process mining, it helps you to visualize, to identify frictions, and to remove the frictions in the back-end systems. And this is really an amazing innovation and a great example also where you see the power of machines are used, leveraged to improve what people can do. Who was aware about what exactly is the reason why your purchase order quality is so bad? Or what is the reason why customers are waiting so long for getting their deliveries? The world has changed. Look at Amazon. You order something, you expect it in some parts in the world same day, in other parts at least next day. And this is really also where you need to have data and visibility in every single step. And this is exactly what process mining does. So I think an amazing technology only at the beginning in helping in the future to more automate and also use more machine learning, artificial intelligence capabilities to remove any frictions to come to hopefully seamless and really frictionless processes in the future.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Back to more to the supply chain and procurement topic. You mentioned four main steps to simplify a framework with four main steps in this field. First was plan, then source, then procure. Is it? Okay. And can you for thank you. I'm not a specialist as you are. Can you for each of the steps tell us what are the key challenges you see today, and how with those technologies we can improve things? I'm trying to be very concrete, for the audience listening to us, what they can get for each of those pieces.
Pascal, I like that because it's a lot of buzzwords, and very often not everyone is perfectly clear about what is really behind. But let's try to continue also to make it simple to explain it. When you look at the plan, source, make, and deliver. Let's start with the planning side. What is it? It is basically R&D, the research and development, where you look what are the products in the future, what your customers buy. Hopefully they buy it. Otherwise, it might be a big loss if they are not buying the products you are producing. But here it comes. By getting real-time insights, when you come up with a product, in the past, how was it? When, for example, airplanes got developed, I think a huge innovation. But to really go to a level that you would say this technology was widely used, it took 60, 80 years to reach a level of 50 million users. And you might say, oh yeah, it was also a different time. Automotive, it took 62 years and so on. For Facebook, Twitter, for example, it was much faster, between 4 and 2 years. A game like Pokemon Go, it took 19 days to reach 50 million users. You might now say, hey, Marcell, we are here at a business conversation, so let's talk about more business and gaming. What I want to say with that is how fast basically user preferences can pop up and can basically also change and define an entirely new business model. Who was expecting people walking around with mobiles and hunting for the Pokemons out there, the monsters? This is really, people laugh about that, but basically it has also created a huge business model with a lot of revenue attached to that. And this shows how important it is to get really data. And you need the real-time information about when you come up with a new idea, is it really a good one? Is it also that it resonates with what customers expect? I always tell the people, whatever you do, and I don't care if it's a front office process like marketing, sales, what you're doing, or back office process like finance, procurement, or even HR, you need to have a customer-centric, a user-centric process defined. The customer experience is key today. If customers don't like it, you can have the most brilliant product in the world. It will not get sold. And we have great examples on that. Who remembers what a palm was, for example? Basically, it was not so far away from what a smartphone is. You could also have digital assistants on that. And this is really on the planning side where you see how important it is to get real-time information data. When you go to the sourcing side, when you know what your customers expect, you can buy the right product. Sometimes you need to be creative and continue to innovate. And if you continue with the smartphone, what Tim Cook did when he was Chief Supply Chain Officer, procurement was reporting into him, he developed the Gorilla Glass. And that's one of the reasons why we can use the smartphone in the way we are using it, because it's very easy to just tap on the glass and get everything executed. Everyone knows this today. In the past, we had BlackBerry and everyone was happy that we had a small, tiny keyboard where we could put in the messages. What a hassle was it? But nevertheless, BlackBerry was an amazing innovation at this point in time, prior to the smartphone as well. You need also, and coming back to the sourcing side, the second step after plan the source, that you might need to innovate with suppliers. And a highly capable procurement function, having access to the data, having real-time access also what's happening out there. When you produce a new laptop like Microsoft did with the Surface, they have 3 suppliers for that. They distribute the entire volume. They have real-time access to the data what gets sold, and procurement can basically also immediately ensure that the right suppliers contracted are producing the Surface models which are now in demand. And this is showing you how important the role also of procurement is. Developing innovations, but also providing everything what is needed in time. There are more elements in it. We talk about sustainability. I mentioned it only once very briefly. It is a way too little compared to what the impact nowadays is. We all know how important sustainability will be for the future. We only have one planet. So therefore, we need to take care about it, and we need also to ensure, coming back to the customer experience and the customer preferences, customers simply expect that you have sustainability as part of your supply chain, your procurement process, and not basically having forced labor, child labor in your process, or basically extracting raw materials in an unsustainable way. People simply don't buy the products anymore. And therefore, you need also a very powerful sourcing and procurement function for that. When you come to manufacturing, basically, lots of things are now coming together. The supplies, what you ordered from the sourcing side, as well as all the machines producing the goods you wanna sell. And it is very important also to connect this, and therefore you need sensors, connected devices, to ensure that you have every single step basically fully transparent about what's happening right now. Are the machines working in the right way? Do I have enough in my inventory, in my warehouse, that I can run production? I can check probably with GPS online and the connected devices. Oh, this truck might get a little bit delayed. Do I run in a problem? Or no, it's not so important because I have enough at stock. And this is really also where you see the machines and the data can be processed and used, and humans can take decisions. In the case they see, wow, there might be a friction, having process mining or not, basically you need the transparency, the one way or other, and technology will help you on that. On the delivery side, basically it continues, and I mentioned already some examples impacting your manufacturing process, but more importantly, you want to ensure that you deliver everything in time to your customers. It might be an end customer receiving an Amazon package, or a wholesaler, a big distribution center, by reaching out to all the retail stores. And how can you do this? That we have really the milk at the shelf when we need it, when we go to a supermarket. But it's not only the milk; it is thousands of products what we can potentially buy out there. And this is exactly where you need to connect every single product to the right distribution line and ensure that customers can buy whatever they want, whenever they want it, 24/7. And this is exactly where you need the technology to help you with the planning and providing everything in each single step of your supply chain. I hope this was not too long as an explanation, Pascal, to summarize a little bit how it works.
Very complete, very good. Thank you so much. Conscious of the timing and to keep the format short, my last question is very practical. For companies today that want to improve their supply chain, procurement, and operations functions, what are your advice? Where they should start, and what they should start with? What are the critical success factors you would give them?
I think it is of utmost importance that you really can run your business in a very smart way. Look at the data, and this is exactly also what I see where we, as a strategy consultancy at BCG, are getting asked a lot of questions from customers. Can you help me by interpreting the data, analyzing the data, and understanding really what is my digital maturity in the processes what I run in my supply chain, in my procurement function. Am I really ready to cope with the expectations on the customer side? And the customer might be also line of business, connecting all the stakeholders. Can I really run all of this in a timely manner to ensure that I not only have everything in time, but also the right quality, as well as also a good price for whatever I need, whenever I need it. And this is exactly right now where we see lots of requests coming in, helping to understanding the data, monitoring end-to-end supply chains, all the different categories, what procurement runs. And very often it starts with a digital maturity assessment, looking into the capabilities, what a company has as of today. And then, of course, looking at the performance. And performance monitor can help with that, seeing am I excellent or not. So therefore, we call it, for example, performance excellence monitor, where you can really see, oh wow, these are the areas where I'm doing fairly well. These are areas probably where I need to improve. And this is exactly then where we help companies to define their strategy going forward. What are the use cases bringing the highest value? It is all about the use case and the business case at the end. If it does not provide value, either don't do it, or basically at least don't invest and try to automate or get rid of it if it's not adding really the value. And this is very often where we see the prioritization. In times of a crisis right now, managing risks and also coming to a more resilient supply chain is definitely the number one topic right now, but also connecting and driving the digital transformation. What are the technologies I should invest right now? Everyone talks about artificial intelligence, but what does it really do? What is really the benefit of that? And this is exactly where people need guidance, companies need guidance, and this is also a great starting point, looking where you are, where do you need to be to meet the demand of your customers as well as your internal stakeholders, and what are now the next steps, adding the highest value, the use cases to help you with. That's in a nutshell how to drive it.
Thank you so much, Marcell. It was really a pleasure and an honor to have you with us today. You've shared with us such a great insight and you gave us a lot of thoughts of food for thoughts for the future of the supply chain and the procurement functions. For you, the audience, if you want to know more about Marcell, we'll flash on the screen where you can find his insights that he regularly shares on social media, as well as the way to connect with him. Super great moment with you. Thank you so much, Marcell. Thank you all for following us, and let's stay tuned for the next stories. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Pascal. The honor is mine, and it was really great talking to you. Thank you, and I hope the audience is very much interested in getting something out of it. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Marcell.